Folks, it's 10 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started once we're live. We are live, so good to go. Welcome everybody to the Joint Waste Disposal Board meeting this morning on the 24th of April. I'd like to welcome two new members, Councillor Martin Alder and Councillor Katherine Harden, both from Woking Borough Council. Thank you very much for joining us, and very, very much welcome, and looking forward to working with you. So thank you for that. Do we have any apologies for absence, Lizzie?
No, Chair, none notified unless anyone's aware of anyone. I think all the members are present. Thank you.
Great. Very good. There may possibly be, yes, a slight coffee interval. I don't know. As coffee's being delivered to you if you've requested that, so do apologize. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from anyone? There being none, very good. We'll move on to item 3. That's the minutes of the last meeting on the 27th of February, and do members or officers have any notes on those? There being none, very good. We'll go ahead and sign those into record, and then we come on to item 4, urgent items of business. Are there any urgent items that anyone would like to present?
None notified to me, Chair. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Lizzie. And I see no one else flagging anything. Great. That's wonderful. And so that moves us on already to item 5, our progress report, and that begins on page 9 for those of you following along in the old-fashioned method like I do. And for that, we will go over to Sarah. Sarah, thank you very much for the report in advance. Do remember that we have read it, but please do highlight the necessary items. Thanks again, Sarah.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so I was going to primarily cover the bits that have got recommendations attached to them. So the first recommendation is in relation to the performance statistics. So in the report, we've provided the provisional full-year figures for last year and a comparison with the previous year. And you will note that there are various differences between the Council's statistics, and I've highlighted what those are in the report. But one area of similarity is in regards to the increase in waste coming into the recycling centre, and in particular the increase in residual or non-recyclable waste coming into the recycling centre. And obviously those are shared facilities, which is part of the reason why there is a similarity. So our recommendation is that members ask for a further report to be brought to the next meeting, in which we can set out some proposals in regards to how we can try and encourage residents to recycle some more of their waste, because we're confident that there will be some recyclables within the black bag waste, and we will need to reflect the results of our compositional analysis in that report. We're currently awaiting those results. We'd also like to broaden the report to look at why we're getting more waste coming to the recycling centre in general, and any impacts or implications that that may have. So, for example, in terms of the numbers of bookings for the recycling centres. So some work has already started on that. So that's the first recommendation. The second one is in relation to third-party reuse schemes. So the chair of the board was approached last year by a company that I suppose was hoping that the councils would promote its doorstep collection services for reusable items. There are obviously benefits to maximising reuse. There are also potentially benefits to working with third parties who have an area of expertise. So we've spent some time looking into how this could work, including whether we could promote them directly or indirectly. It's proved to be a little bit challenging, which I guess is partly because the service is already operating within the RE3 sort of council areas, and the company is fully responsible for operating its services. So therefore there's not an awful lot of scope to make changes to how it works or to enter into contracts and those sorts of things. So in terms of working with third parties in general, our proposal and recommendation is that we put together a list of criteria that we could put up on the council websites, And if a company comes forward and they can meet our criteria, then we can go ahead and promote those services to our residents. One of those criteria would presumably have to be that the company will provide us with some statistics that we can feed into our recycling rates. You will note, however, that there is no specific recommendation in the report in regards to the specific company that we've been looking at. And that is because we have identified some potential issues in regards to the due diligence checks that we've undertaken that we've not been able to reconcile. So members are therefore invited to consider both the benefits and the risks linked to working with this particular company. And presumably we will need to feed sort of the outcomes from that discussion into any due diligence checks that we might want to undertake on any other companies that come forward as part of this list of criteria. So that then is the second recommendation. And aside from that, I was just going to note that there are also a couple of other points in the report about reuse. So the point about the school uniform bins at the recycling centres should hopefully be positive. That's a way to increase social value and maximise sort of reuse in the local area. And then in regards to the electrical appliances reuse scheme, that is something that we started at the recycling centres. But myself and a couple of colleagues from our contractor went to visit the off-taker's facility, and at that point identified that the function tests weren't quite happening as we had expected them to be. So that project is currently on hold, but we are working with the contractor, hopefully to resolve those issues with the off-taker, or otherwise potentially to look at other options for reusing those sorts of items. And I think that's all I was going to cover, so happy to hand back for any questions.
Very good, thank you, Sarah. And I look to members, officers for questions. Mary, you had your hand up first, so go ahead.
With the third party that comes around and collects it from the doorstep, do they, I mean, charities have done this for a very long time and give new bags to put in and everything. And in my square, there's always one that goes out, but not very many. So would it still be a plastic bag given, or boxes, or is that up to the contractor to say what is needed at that time? And would it be a regular collection, or just when a note comes through your door?
Yes, so in regards to this specific company, the way they operate is it's basically a resident makes a booking on the website at the point at which they require a collection. There are no bags or anything, it is just done as and when the resident requires a service, and they put out their own container with whatever items they've got within it, and then the company comes and collects that.
Great, and then I think there was, Katrin, if you want to go ahead, I thought I saw another hand raised, but go ahead.
Thanks. So I think, again, in relation to the third party and discussion with Steve yesterday, I think from a promotions perspective, it's something that, you know, naming a particular company who isn't willing to enter into, you know, any kind of relationship and checks from council is something we're not comfortable with, just due to, I mean, it's great that due diligence has already been carried out, but it's clearly raised some flags. So whilst absolutely supporting the, you know, the reuse, the principles of what they're trying to achieve, and endorsing that, you know, this is happening anyway, they're already welcome to operate with, assuming they've got the right licenses and so on, within the area, it's not something we feel comfortable promoting unless they are willing to. It could be as simple as an MOU, but something that does allow us to carry out, you know, the kind of basic procurement style checks without necessarily a full procurement process. So I'm still learning in terms of the difference between, you know, what is a RE3 joint thing versus a Wokingham or respective councils' promotions, but that's certainly the approach that we would take.
Very good. Sarah, do you have any comments back on that, or any details that you'd like to give us in regards to that?
No, I mean, I suppose I would highlight that the company has been willing to provide us with information that we've asked for. It's just some of the information that comes back has perhaps not quite met the bar that we might have set, I suppose.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? No. Okay, very good. Are there any other questions on any other items throughout the recap here? And did we note that the other two recommendations were fine? Okay, on that. So then basically with this report, we have our recommendations that Sarah suggested of the further report to come forward to the next meeting, especially regarding around the greater level of waste that we have going on and the other performance stats. So that would be the first recommendation. The second recommendation would be in regards to the third-party reuse, which I would agree that needs to obviously be undertaken by individual councils, and that we continue to see what can be done there, but I think that a lot of due diligence has been done and made already in regards to trying to make that come forward. So, thank you. So are we in agreement then, members? If we could just, yep, okay, very good. So in that regard, then we move on to item 6, which is the communications report. And for that, we go over to Monica. Monica, in advance, do remember that we have read the items, but please do note the highlights to us if you would be so good. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I do not have any recommendation with my report, but hopefully members do not mind to highlight a few items, especially related to the recent projects that we've been looking after. So starting with a reread book reuse scheme, members recall that we launched it fully for residents in March. And so as part of that initiative, residents visiting Recycling Centre can collect free books, as well as a community and schools can come forward to us and we will pre-select some books for them. The initiative the response to the initiative was extremely positive. I think we were all expecting being good, but I don't think that we expected to be that popular from the start. And within the first month, we managed to distribute 3,000 books, and almost 40 organizations came forward to us. We're promoting it quite heavily on social media, newsletters, but as well at the local events, and the feedback was absolutely brilliant. Also, we managed to, on the last moment, place the application for the awards and described the initiative, and really pleased that it has been already noticed and has been recognized and shortlisted for the upcoming Let's Recycle Awards, with the winners announced on 1st of May. Another project that it's quite well known to local community now, it's a Regrow Community Compost Schemes, and we're running it for the 4th year now. And I think, yeah, because it's a 4th year, I think it just shows that popularity has been growing, and we get absolute immediate response from schools and organizations. At the moment, I think we got just over 50 organizations already coming forward, so it seems to be really popular and and well noted locally. And last thing I want to just maybe highlight is our reuse pop-up shop. So this is the events that enable us to sell items that residents living at the reuse area. We aiming to host these events regularly, and I think that's proving to be a really good idea. Every time the event receives a really good traction and interest. So the recent event was held at Reading Recycling Centre earlier this month. We managed to sell 160 items which equates just over 1.2 ton of the waste being diverted into reuse stream, which shows that within a very short amount of time it seems extremely successful. In addition to that, we're able to raise the funds for a good cause as well. So a really, really good event. We're planning to hold another one in the middle of June in Bracknell, and the expectation that we will find the right location to hold a similar event as well in Wokingham in September. And just to kind of sum her up, I think it was really pretty good few weeks for all of those social initiatives that we launched and promoted, and was really reflected with a really good media coverage as well and social engagement. So really pleased showing that, that social value that partnership is doing is being recognized locally, and lots of those initiatives and new services that we're bringing forward actually being noticed and really appreciated. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Monica. A lot of good stuff in there, certainly in the reduce, reuse, recycle category, and much excitement for the next award show. I mean, that's exciting when we've continual award shows to go to, so that's really, really great. Can I look to members and officers for any comments or questions in regards to the communications report? No? Okay. Oh, we got a thumbs up from Woking. That's lovely, and I do indeed think it's positive. So basically the recommendations are obviously that we really note the report, and we've noted. Thank you. Very good. So at that, I do believe we're on schedule and ahead of time to move to the exclusion of public and press for the next section. And I get to read out this exciting bit of information that pursuant to Regulation 4 of the Local Authorities, Executive Arrangements Access to Information Regulations 2012, and having regard to the public interest, members of the public and press be excluded from the meeting for the consideration of the next items, which involves the likely disclosure of exempt information under the following categories, Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. Yes, information relating to the financial or business affairs of any particular